Yo, what's up? I've been getting some questions recently about whether or not I think Colin Kaepernick should get signed by a team. And do I feel like, his whole antics with the national anthem and all that kind of stuff were, the reason he's not being signed. And I can't help but laugh every time somebody says that. Because I'm like, yes, I don't agree at all with him sitting during the national anthem, especially, me being military. Obviously, I feel very strongly about, the flag and what it represents and, what some people sacrificed for this country. So him sitting down, yeah, rubbed me the wrong way. But do I think that's the reason why he hasn't been signed by a team? Absolutely not. Like, I don't think it helped. It definitely didn't help his case. Now, most owners, GMs, obviously they want players that don't come with a lot of baggage. Now, granted, Colin Kaepernick actually, he doesn't come with a lot of baggage, but because of the stand he took, it added baggage to him whether he liked it or not. Because he's at the level that he's at, everything he does is under a microscope. So by him doing that, he added a lot of press, whether it be positive or negative, to him. So you always say, is the juice worth the squeeze? Do you want to bring a guy in that's got some baggage? Is his talent worth what comes with him, with possibly being a distraction to other people in the locker room and to the team in general? Because now they're answering questions about, Colin Kaepernick instead of, about games or whatever it may be. So when it comes down to Colin Kaepernick, is the juice worth the squeeze? Hell no. Not even close. You're talking about a guy that is a scheme player. And by that I mean, maybe not, I shouldn't say scheme, I should say a formation player or a certain kind of offensive player where he can only play in a certain set, and that set was the pistol or even like an option, because sitting in the pocket, reading a defense, looking downfield, throwing the football is not his forte, and it never has been, even since college. So he struggles when it comes time to do that. Since Jim Harbaugh left, the 49ers and him have changed offenses, and he's been absolutely terrible at it. When Jim Harbaugh was there, he was splitting time with Alex Smith that first year. They went 13-3. That was the year everybody jumped on a bandwagon, like, look how good this kid is. Except anybody with a brain is like, wow, he's doing everything with his feet and he can't throw the ball worth a damn. Yes, he has a cannon, but if anybody noticed, to hit somebody on the run, he struggled with. 9 times out of 10, he's not going to make that throw. And all his numbers have proved it, because he goes 13-3 that first year, sharing time with Alex Smith, who is an actual very good game managing quarterback who gets zero credit. So then the very next year, he becomes a starter. They send Alex Smith off to Kansas City, who's only, won 10 plus games every single year is there. It's a whole other topic though. And what's he do the next year? He stays winning a little bit, goes 11-4, does all right. This time doesn't make it quite as far into the playoffs. Then the next year, he has pretty much the exact same year. He goes like 12-4 as a starter. Then things start to regress. He goes 8-8. Then he goes 5-11. Then last year he goes 2-14. So he's getting worse and worse, and you can actually see the trend. And every year, everything's dropping. You're talking about a guy that's never thrown for more than 3,300 yards in any season he's ever played in, and he's only broke 3,000 yards twice in 6 seasons. He averages more along the lines of like 1,800 yards. So you want to bring an 1,800 yard guy in who also always has double-digit turnovers and has only thrown more than 21 touchdowns once in his entire career. And normally he's around the 15 touchdown mark, except for some years where he was down and only had 10 touchdowns or 6 touchdowns and then had just as many turnovers. Now, he hasn't thrown as many picks as he has touchdowns, but if you look at overall turnovers, including fumbles, because he likes to run a lot, you get double-digit turnovers. Like last year, he had 16 touchdowns and I think 11 total turnovers. Now only like 4 or 5 of those were TDs, and were interceptions. Any other 6 or 7 were fumbles. So he's still turning the ball over regardless of how he does it. He did set a record last year though for quarterbacks with, having the lowest QBR rating in the history of the league. That's not good. That's not good, Colin. That's not the way you want to get into the record books, especially considering some of the shitty quarterbacks that have played in this league. To actually set the record and be the worst, that's pretty hard to freaking do. Total over his career, he's got a 59% completion rating. That's freaking terrible. 59% completing passes. I don't think I have to tell you that that's pretty shitty. He's only thrown for 12,000 yards. He's so freaking average. The guy is 32-32 his overall record as a QB. He's thrown 30 touchdowns. He's had 27 fumbles, and he's only got, a little bit more to go before he just sets every record as being the shittiest quarterback ever. So it has nothing to do with the fact that this guy sat down and everything to do with the fact that he's just not a great quarterback. Like it or not, the numbers don't lie. And I mean, if you want to talk about some of the quarterbacks whose numbers are actually better than his, that it's like laughable when you think about it, because you're like, oh shit, no wonder this guy's getting nobody to sign him, because you look at the guys that are actually on paper better than him. I mean, you're talking about TJ Yates, Drew Stanton, Brian Hoyer, Nick Foles, Trevor Siemian, Matt Castle, Brock Osweiler. Like the list goes on and on about these guys. Mark Sanchez. So I don't want people to sit there and bitch and complain like, oh, this guy's not getting a fair deal. No. He's getting a fair deal. He sucks. He shouldn't be on a team. Now, the funny thing is, he probably will be. He probably will be signed. Just give it some time. Once the preseason starts, maybe guys get injuries, guys go down. They realize maybe some of these guys they brought in aren't as good. He probably will get signed as a backup or something, because legitimately, that's about what he is. He's about a decent backup that may be able to split a few games and get you some wins if your starter goes down. I mean, you look at a team like the Jets who are struggling to friggin' bring anybody in. I could see them signing him because, they could use anybody at this point. But is he not being signed because he decided to sit his ass down? No. He's not being signed because he's garbage and somebody should have shat his ass down a long time ago, because he's just not a good quarterback. Sorry, that's just the way it is. So if you don't believe it, then, you don't want to see it. So, you can love it or hate it, but that's the truth. Deal with it.